Hello everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga. This is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. Welcome. So in our practice today, we're going to be focusing on legs, and I've called this class one leg at a time because some of the work that we're going to be doing with our legs, we'll just be doing one leg at a time. So a lot of extending, stretching, reaching, those kinds of things, a little bit of balancing, just to kind of get into our hamstrings a little bit, into our hips, in joints. I think that's always a good, body part to kind of focus on because they tend to get tight or stiff. And we also want to, some of us want to get a little bit more flexible. So one leg at a time in our practice today. So for our props, of course, for soft flow, we always like to have a blanket, something soft that you can sit on and kneel on because we will have some kneeling postures. So something that will protect your knees and your hands. And we will be using a strap. You'll need a strap today for our one leg at a time practice. So a yoga strap or something that might resemble something like this. It could be a belt that has some flexibility to it, even a jump rope, something long. Okay, so we'll have that handy. And then you might want to have a couple of yoga blocks. Another way to help support our bodies in some of our postures, especially some of the hip openers that we like to do. And then maybe a big soft pillow or cushion. It could be from your sofa or bed. This is a yoga bolster. It's nice and firm, great for some yoga postures. I don't teach with it specifically, but it's something that you can use for something like Shavasana when you're lying down in your meditative practice. Alrighty. So that is it as far as our props. Let's go ahead and begin. So I invite you to sit comfortably. You might sit on your blanket or pillow. You can cross your legs here. I like to sit in half lotus. You can even sit in easy pose, just a simple crossing at the shins and ankles. You can even extend your legs. If there's a little bit too much sensation or tension even in your knees or hips, feel free to maybe extend your legs. Even take the time to maybe sit in a chair for this first portion of our practice, and then you can move on to your yoga mat. So sitting nice and tall, nicely extended spine. Let your shoulders relax. You might want to shake them out just to be sure you're not holding too much tension in your shoulders. Arms can just rest down by your side, hands in your lap. We'll start with some deep breaths, slow deep breaths in and out. You might breathe in through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or through your mouth. A few of those. Just to get in tune with your breathing. A nice redirect to yourself, moving inside. And beginning to pay attention to what's happening inside of you, beginning to let go of the things that are going on outside of you. A nice opportunity to focus, to be more present and aware. And this could be your entire practice. Sometimes you don't have time for a full 60-minute yoga class, but you may have a few minutes that you can spare just for sitting, relaxing, closing your eyes, and just paying attention to your breath for a few minutes, just to help you refocus. So I encourage you to do that on your own at times. Slow, deep breaths. You may want to breathe in a way where you can hear the sound of your breath as you inhale and exhale. So if you need to, just turn up the volume of your breath. Nice. And also feel the breath. For example, as you inhale, you might feel your breath rising upward to fill up your lungs. Nice expansive feeling in the upper body. And if you can, hold that uplifting feeling as you exhale and draw navel inward towards your spine. Just a light engagement here. We call that the abdominal lock. I'm starting to bring some energy and action to the body. When we breathe in, breath is rising. We want to keep that uplifting sensation. It also keeps us nice and tall in our seat. And to keep that uplifting feeling, we engage our low section here. That's the exhale, drawing belly in. Do that a few more times, noticing the feeling and the sound of the breath. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths like this. And we'll add our very simple movement. Ready for our moving meditation. You can join me when you're ready. Inhale and extend your arms out across the room, reaching out all the way up, reaching for the sky. Good. And as you exhale, extend your arms out, reaching across the room, and then back down by your side, completing that one round of breath. Do that again. Inhale, extend your arms out, reaching with some energy all the way up towards the ceiling. And your exhale, good energy in the arms, hands and fingers, reaching out, letting your arms come back down by your side. Now go ahead and continue to breathe and move at your own pace. You don't necessarily need to follow me. Just follow your breath. Feeling the breath move your own body. And as you're moving, you might be moving in slow motion or just at the pace of your own breath. And with this movement, feel the energy in your arms reaching high, a lengthening sensation down through the sides of your body. We're still maintaining that energy of breathing in, feeling breath rising, filling up the lungs as the arms go up, keeping that uplifting feeling. Even though the arms are coming down, we want to still feel tall in the spine, exhaling to engage core. Let's do that a few more times, maybe 2 more breaths on your own. And when you're complete, just bring your arms down by your side, let your hands relax in your lap, and just returning to stillness, and also a return to your breath. And from here, you want to bring your hands behind you. You might just rest on your fingertips or down onto your palms. I always go to my fingertips. That's just a little bit less strain on the wrists. With the arms back behind you, you can feel the shoulders draw back. You might have to put some effort in drawing the shoulders back. Just hopes to open up the upper chest and then tip your chin up just a little bit. Here we are. Then we'll inhale, press into the floor with your hands or fingers. Breath rising. Fill up your lungs. And exhaling, draw navel in towards spine. That same engagement we did in our seated position. Again, pressing into the earth with the hands. Feel the energy in your arms. Breath rising, fill up your lungs. More energy in the body. Expansion through the upper chest. Exhaling, belly in, and if you're able, squeezing shoulder blades together behind you. Feel these new sensations arise in your body. This is our seated mild back bend. We'll take 2 more breaths. And then from here, just lower your chin to look forward. Walk your hands toward yourself to sit up nice and tall. You can go ahead and just bring your hands back to your lap. Hold for a moment. Just returning to stillness as your body comes back to neutral. After our back bend, we take a forward fold. So if your legs happen to be crossed, you can uncross your legs. Place the soles of your feet together, going to cobbler's pose. Here's where you might want to use your blocks or pillows or books, whatever you might be using here, and just to place them underneath the legs so the legs have something to rest on. So they stay relaxed here. Holding on to your shins or ankles or toes, we'll inhale, fully extended spine, feel tall. Exhale, draw belly in for engagement and energy to move and begin to hinge forward just a little bit, not too far. Part of our practice, this soft flow practice, is that we move gently. We take small movements, taking it in slow motion, gentle. Inhale, more lengthened spine at this new angle. Exhale, connecting to center and perhaps hinging forward a little bit more. You really don't need to go too far. Just find that space where you begin to feel sensation in your inner thighs. And once you have that, just stay right there. You might go a little bit deeper, not too much. We want to keep the body in a situation where it feels relaxed at least 98% of this class. You want to be able to hold your posture and not feel tired or strained or stressed. Let's take 3 more breaths right here. So if you ever go too far in a pose, you can always back up or back out of the posture. Soften it up as you'd like. And then we'll rise back up to re-extend spine, sitting up nice and tall. Just hold here for a breath or two. And we'll make our transition to our hands and knees, so you can move your props out of the way if you're using them. Maneuver your body carefully to come to hands and knees. Here you might want to use your blanket for that softness and protection for your knees and wrists, if you'd like. We'll start in this tabletop posture, moving into cat pose and cow pose. It starts with cow, which is an inhale. You'll inhale and look forward, slightly up with an arch in the back, a U shape in the back. Your pelvis tips backward. Exhale, tuck tailbone underneath. Feel your belly button pull up towards your spine, the rounding of your back and chin to chest. That's cat. Inhale, looking forward, arching the back, creating that mild back bend. Exhale, round it out. And again, you can breathe and move at your own pace as you flow through these 2 postures. And again, you don't have to go too deep into these postures, meaning you don't need to force the back bend. You don't even need to force the rounding of the back, just enough where you feel the curvature, feel navel pulling up in that cat pose. In the cow pose, heart opens, that arch in the back, and that's plenty. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. This nice undulation through the spine. It's also a nice release for the hips. And when you're complete, just come back to a neutral tabletop position. Just hold here and return to the awareness of your breath. You might take a deep breath a couple times right here in stillness. And then we'll prepare for our next pose. If you are using a prop here for comfort for the hands and knees, go ahead and crawl off of that prop and set it to the side. Come back to hands and knees. We'll get ready for downward facing dog. So from hands and knees, let's change our hand position. You're going to step your hands forward here, so your hands are no longer underneath your shoulders. I'd even suggest spreading out your fingers pretty wide. When we're creating a strong base with the hands, but also you might get a stretch between each finger. And then lean or press into the floor with the hands to flatten your palms. That stretches and opens the palms. As you press, you might feel a strength and energy in your straight arms. Keep that energy there. Tuck your toes. Let's do another cat-cow flow. Inhale, look up or forward, arching the back, cow. Exhale, round it out, cat. Hold cat. From here, lifting your knees off the ground, sending hips into the air, downward facing dog. Some adjustments with the feet. Maybe your hands if you need to, just so you feel sturdy in this upside down position. Shake your head so it feels loose in the neck and shoulders. Keep a bend in the knees and send your hips up a little higher as you're able, and press firmly into the ground with the hands. Take 1 more breath. From here, you're going to step both feet forward just till they're underneath you and your feet feel flat on the mat. It might just be the center of your mat. You'll be in a forward fold, a deep forward fold momentarily. But here we'll inhale, slide hands up to the knees or thighs, extending the spine so you're flat like a table. And we'll exhale and fold a little bit. You don't have to touch the ground here unless you want to. To touch the ground, you might just bend your knees a whole lot more. Right now, my hands are just resting on my shins, keeping a bend in the knees. Because I feel like, yes, I'm in a forward fold, but I'm also feeling a little stretch sensation in the hamstrings. If I drop my head a little bit, I can feel that curvature in the spine.
You might even do this. Shift your weight forward a little bit towards your toes. Grip the mat with your toes so you don't fall forward, but that will also engage your hamstrings. So that's a nice sensation. Since we are going to be working with legs a little bit, you can begin bringing some of that energy and attention to the backs of your legs. From here, let's shift the weight back into the heels. Bend your knees. Feel like you're going to sit down into a low chair. Look forward. If you can, take your arms out to the side. Press feet into the floor to straighten your legs. Stand up tall. Reach into the air. Nice stretch there at the top. Exhale. Arms come down by your side. Here we are, mountain pose. Let's just pause here for a moment. Our first standing position. Just take an awareness of your feet. You might stand with the feet slightly wider than hips or at hip distance apart, toes slightly turned out, and just find a nice evenness and balance on both feet. Let's roll the shoulders, lift the shoulders, roll them back, bring them down, and just hold. Just being sure your shoulders feel like they're what I would call behind your heart. Just to help open up through the chest and you feel proud in your stance. Take a couple breaths here. In a moment, we'll go through that half salute to the sun where we fold forward and come right back up. Whenever you're ready, inhale, extend the arms up, nice reach, good stretch. Exhale, bend your knees, feel like you're sitting back into a low chair. Bring your arms out to the side, that actually helps with balance. Folding forward, rounded spine, maybe touching toes or just your shins. Inhale, slide your hands up the legs to extend your spine so you're flat like a table. Exhale, fold all the way down or partially down. Just take one breath right here. Then shifting weight back into the heels, bend your knees, feel like you're sitting down in that very low chair. Look forward, arms out to the side. Inhale, stand up as tall as can be. Reach into the air. Exhale, arms back down by your side. So that's our half salute to the sun. Hold here in stillness, mountain pose. Take a breath or two. All right, let's do our warrior one variation, our first lunge. You can even consider this leg work. So our mountain pose. Let's start with a softness in the knees. Put a bend in your knees and keep that bend. Start shifting weight into your right foot so it feels firmly planted into the floor. Once you have that, lean forward just a little bit because you're going to take your left foot and just start tiptoeing it back. Not too far, just enough where you can kind of flex the foot a little bit like that and you're on the balls of the foot. You're going to pivot or turn the left foot out, setting the heel onto the floor. So the leg will turn out at an angle here. Now the right knee is slightly bent, pointing forward. Again, left leg kind of turned out at an angle, but you want to feel planted and balanced on 2 feet. Place your hands on your hips, push your pelvis downward. As you do so, feel tall in the torso. We're just making a little space in the belt line, and then turn to face forward as best as you can. From here, inhale and take your arms up into the air, reaching for the sky. Exhale, hold. You're still drawing belly in towards spine, just for that secure sensation. Feel planted on both feet. There's an evenness, a balance. We're in a mild lunge. So this is our variation of warrior one. Inhale, reach a little higher through your fingertips. When you exhale, bring your arms down, bring your hands to hips. Lean forward, start putting some pressure into the front foot, your right foot, so you can step this left foot forward to meet the other. Then inhale, sweep both arms up into the air, nice and tall, extended mountain. Exhale, arms down by your side. So that's our warrior one variation sequence. Let's do the other side. A little bend in the knees, shifting weight into left foot, feel securely planted. Lean forward a little bit. We're just making some balance. We can start stepping this right foot back, not too far. Still on the balls of the foot back there, kind of a flexed foot. Turn that leg, pivot, and press heel to the ground, balanced, secure. I like to say we're sitting in the pocket right here. Left knee slightly bent, knee and toes pointing directly forward. Right leg turned out at an angle, planted. Hands on hips, push pelvis down as you get tall through the torso and spine. And you might turn gently towards the front of the room. We'll inhale, extend both arms up into the air. Exhale, connect to center, belly draws in. Hold for a few moments. If this is a little uncomfortable for your shoulders, if that feels stressful, you can always bring the arms down at 90 degrees. Just bend your elbows. We'll inhale to re-extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, arms come down, hands to hips. Lean forward, putting weight and pressure into this front foot. So we can step the right foot forward next to the other. Again, extended mountain pose, reaching into the air, both arms. And exhale, arms back down by your side. Well done. All right, let's continue our flow, adding on. And part of the addition here will certainly be another version of Warrior One with a wider stance. Here we go. Let's inhale, extend arms up. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, send your hips back to the back edge of your mat, feeling like you're sitting down into a chair. Carefully folding. You don't have to go all the way down. Maybe hands land at your shins or knees. Inhale, slide hands up the legs, extending spine. Even feel like you're going forward. Exhale, bend your knees. Keep bending. Let the back round. We're getting lower so we can bring the hands down to the mat. Transfer the weight into the hands so you can start stepping both of your feet back. Take as many steps as you need to the back end of your mat. We'll be in plank pose or a high push-up position. We'll inhale to feel very long in the body. Exhale, bend your knees slightly, but send hips up into the air. And we're in downward facing dog again. Adjust your hands, adjust your feet. Bent knees, hips high, firm press into the ground with the hands. Feel that energy in your arms. We're going to add on right here. We'll inhale, lift right foot and extend the right leg back, reaching back. So one leg at a time. Exhale, bend right knee, bring right knee in underneath you towards your chest or chin, shifting your body weight forward so your shoulders are right over your wrist. You can even see that happen. And then set the right foot down, it'll just be your toes. And then also set your left knee down. This is going to allow you to pick up your right hand off the floor, reach back to pick up your right foot, and place it up higher on the mat. We're going for that wider stance for the lunge. Relift left knee. Pivot left heel to the floor. Weight is still forward, so when we pivot that left heel, we need to put some weight back into the foot. So feel the pressure back there. You might need to step your hands back a little bit for balance so you can put pressure in that back foot. Your torso will be out over the right leg. You might want to walk up the leg, bring both hands up to right thigh, lifting upper body, your torso maybe to 45 degrees right here. Just check in with that back foot. Just press more firmly into the ground. Take both arms out and then up into the air as you become perpendicular to the floor. Reach high on the inhale. Exhale, bend this right knee, lunging a little deeper on the exhale. So here's our second variation of Warrior One. You can always change the elbows or change the arms by bending the elbows. You might feel a different sensation in this left leg now because we have more distance between the feet. We're going to take a breath in, reaching arms up into the air. This exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. Be sure this right leg stays in place as best as it can, because that transition from 1 to 2 is a hip opener. Check in with alignment. Right knee and toes forward. That left leg didn't move. It's still straight. Planted into the floor with the foot. Side angle, reach out over this right leg like you're reaching out to get something, so you angle the upper half of the body. Rotate your arms. Right arm will come down, maybe just to inner thigh, while left arm reaches up into the air. Big stretch, up and down. You can go much lower, but for our soft flow, you might want to stay up high in this pose. My wrist is actually right against my right inner thigh, and I still feel this. This feels fine. Breathe in. Exhale, let's carefully turn the whole upper body towards the floor. Bend so we can bring both hands to the floor, plant them firmly. Lift that back left heel, join your toes. More pressure into the floor with the hands. Push. And then slide this right foot back. It's a transfer of weight into the hands so the right foot can slide back. We're going to take a quick breather here. Bring knees to the floor. sit back into hero. I'm going to give you some variations of hero. I've got my legs or feet flat. You can see how I'm sitting right here on my heels. If that is not in your wheelhouse right now, you can just maybe, you can even get a little stretch here, maybe come to your toes and sit back a little bit. Maybe so there isn't as much pressure on the hands. Okay, I'm just really giving you a little break from being on your hands. Okay, so some variations of hero pose, just a seated posture. And when you're ready, no rush, you can just make your way back out. 2 hands and knees will set up for the second side. Step hands forward, spread out your fingers, press palms firmly into the ground. Inhale, cow, that's looking forward. Exhale, rounded out cat. Tuck toes. Lift knees and hips, downward facing dog. Let's do the other leg. Inhale, extend left leg up, reach. Bend the left knee, bring heel down towards backside, but then bring left knee in towards chest or chin, sending the body forward. Check out shoulder alignment over wrist. Set the left foot down on the mat, then the right knee down on the mat. We're kneeling basically, so we can go get the left foot, pick it up, place it up a little higher. Replant the left hand, lift the right knee, pivot right heel to the floor. Feel how there's not much weight back there. See if you can transfer some weight and energy into that back foot. Once you've got that, make sure torso is extended out over the left thigh. Hand can walk up the leg to this left thigh, lifting to about 45 degrees. Check in with back foot. Just press. You'll feel some activation in that back leg, hopefully. Extend arms out to the side, rise up, reach up with an inhale, exhale, lunge, even bend elbows if you'd like. Here's Warrior One. Checking in with these new sensations on this side, still breathing. Then we'll inhale, re-extend arms straight up if they were bent. Exhale, turn torso towards the right side of the room. Bring arms down to parallel. Make sure when you make that transition, Warrior One to Warrior Two, that the left leg stays in place. It almost feels like that left knee is actually moving to the left side of the room as you open up to the right side of the room. Hopefully that makes sense. Reach out over left thigh, angled upper body. Rotate the arms, hand or wrist or forearm against the inner thigh. Here's another variation. If this feels like it's too much, you can just bring your hand right up on the thigh, just to provide a little bit more support as you reach into the air with the right hand. We're still at an angle. You're still in the pose. Take a breath in. Exhale, we'll carefully turn so you can see the floor. Take your time. You even walk down the leg if you want to with the hands. Plant the hands on the ground. Spin up onto the toes behind you so the heel is lifted. Firm press into the floor with the hands so there's some lightness in the left foot so you can slide it back. Plank pose, hold. Maybe an extra breath or two for some good strength. And we're bringing knees to the ground. All right, we are taking hero just for a quick second so then we can slide off the heels onto the mat. Extend legs out front. Right here. All right, I'm just going to adjust my mat. We're going to stay seated. We're going to do a lot of floor work here for the next few moments, actually, working one leg at a time. Grab your strap if you'd like to use it. Our first pose is Janu Shirshasana. So you're going to keep the right leg straight, bend the left knee, bring left foot to inner thigh, but check in with left knee. When you bring foot to thigh, that might put an extra bend or more bend in the knee. If you need to slide that leg down so there's less bend in the knee, that's fine. And or if this knee is lifted off the floor like mine is at the moment, place a block underneath it for a little bit more stability, okay? Maybe adjusting your seat. I'm just going to bring that foot back for me. Keep that block there. You can even sit on your blanket if you need a little extra cushion. Now with your strap or belt, whatever you have, you can wrap it around the bottom of the foot. Here, holding onto the ends. As we inhale, tug on the strap a little bit, but use that as a way to sit up as tall as can be. That's our inhale. Exhale, just pull belly in. Okay. Now inhale, lift a little taller. When we exhale, pull on the strap to send heart forward a little bit. Just like we did when we were in our cobbler's pose, we took a small increment. We're doing the same thing here. This is one of my favorite seated postures because so many things are happening at once. We mainly get a hamstring stretch, at least I do, but you're also getting a hip release on the left side. And if we're folding and even rounding the back if you desire, which you're certainly welcome to do, getting a little back stretch. And again, not folding too far where you would get too tired too quickly. You want to be able to hold this pose for a significant amount of time. Not that we're going to hold this pose really long, but just feel as if you could. So you can just focus on your breathing and just noticing the sensations in the body. You're not really too concerned about, oh gosh, how long are we going to be holding here? This is, uncomfortable. There's a term I like to use sometimes, and it's uncomfortable. Oh, now I forgot my phrase. Comfortable discomfort. Comfortable discomfort. Because we're in positions that aren't really typical, but you want to be able to feel okay in them, feel comfortable. All right, we're going to rise back up nice and tall through the spine. So that was head to knee pose, first side, one leg at a time. Let's go ahead and extend this left leg. Just hold here for a moment just to find some realignment and balance. And we'll do the other side. So left leg can stay extended. We'll bend the right knee, bringing right foot to inner thigh or lower down the leg depending on how this feels on your right knee. Use support over there, a blanket or a pillow or a block. We've got our strap ready to go. Wrap it around the bottom of your foot, out front there. Got a good hold of the strap. We'll inhale, tug the strap, but use it as a way to really extend spine. Breath is rising to fill up your lungs. Exhale, pull belly in. We haven't moved yet, just getting the body ready. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale, a little tug of the strap, sending heart forward a little bit at a time, because you can really check in with your body. It's like, okay, I've moved this far. Let me just see how this feels. Now, could you see what I did? I just took the strap and I just wrapped it around my right hand, and I'm using the left hand on the floor for a little extra stability. I just feel more comfortable here. Just a way to hold myself in place. Now, I'm going to go a tiny bit more. That's about it. I can feel, if I were to put a percentage on this, ranging all the way to 100%, I feel like this is a good 70% for me, which means I could dial it back a little bit. And I will, actually. There, right about there for me. It was a very subtle movement, but I feel much more comfortable here. So that's how you can really kind of play with some of these poses to get a good sense of how you feel when you're in these postures. You'll know what's too deep, you'll know what's too soft, okay? And just finding that nice spot that feels perfect for you. All right, let's take 3 more breaths. Janu Shirshasana, or head to knee pose, working one leg at a time. All right, we're going to rise back up nice and tall. I'm going to release the strap. We're going to be using the strap kind of throughout the next few postures here. Let's extend the right leg. Sit up tall as can be. This is just staff pose. Just hold here. We're going to take a quick little break from the leg extension work, and one leg at a time. We're going to lie down. So make sure you're sitting in the center of your mat. Go ahead and lie down on your back, but before you do, make sure you got your blocks or pillows or books, whatever you're using, because we're going to move into a back bend, just to kind of break things up a little bit. So lie down on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And this might feel very nice as far as a way to relax your back body after sitting up tall for a few moments, as we just did. So a few breaths. When you exhale, you can just feel yourself kind of melt into the ground. Alrighty, we're going to be moving into a bridge pose, just a nice opening for the heart space and front side of body. Take a nice full inhale, fill up your lungs. Make sure you've got your blocks in hand. Exhale, lifting hips into the air, slide your blocks underneath you or whatever you have, and then sit on those props. Make any adjustments with your feet for a little bit more stability. You can even adjust your upper body a little bit. So you can just settle in and be comfortable here in this supported bridge pose. Several breaths here. Deep breaths if you're able. When we hold postures, this is another opportunity to really go deep inside of self. Also a return to self, just in case, your mind started to wander and you got a little distracted. Start thinking about things. When you come to stillness in a pose, especially one that's relaxing, you can take some deep breaths and focus on the moment. Let's take 3 more breaths in our bridge pose. After your 3rd breath, press feet into the floor so you can lift your hips, remove your blocks, slowly come back down, make contact with the earth. From here, extend both legs out front, arms behind you, reach in these opposite directions, a little bit more lengthening in the body. Then hug both knees into chest. Hold for a moment here. To sit up, you can just rock forward and back and sit up, or, which was something that I'm going to do at the moment, is that just roll to one side, just lean or roll to one side, then use your hands to help press yourself up to seated. Okay, once you're in seated, just relax. Just stay right where you are, because I'm going to show you our next thing. I need to move some of my props out of the way so I can show you. Just some leg work. Let's see if I can do this so you can see me well enough. Hopefully you can. So one leg at a time. Just watch for a moment. I'm just going to do one leg. I'm drawing my right leg in, sending leg up into the air. I'm going to keep the knee bent, wrap a strap around the bottom of the foot, extending the leg in the air. Now I can extend the leg fully, but if you need to keep a slight bend in the knee, do that. And then we're holding on to the strap. We're going to do several things here. Okay, first you just want to feel like you're flat on the floor. You just happen to have one leg up into the air. We're flexing the left foot so this leg stays stable and this whole left side stays stable. The first thing we're going to do is a little tug of the strap, just a little bit, so we start to feel a stretch in the hamstring. I'm about at 75% right here. I can really feel this. Okay, you can certainly soften that up if you like. Alrighty, then the next movement, I'm going to soften this up and take this right leg off to the right side. But as I take the right leg off to the right side, this is what we're not going to do. We don't want to roll all the way over like this. I'm exaggerating this. We don't want to do this, where this whole left side lifted away from the floor. We want to keep the whole left side planted into the ground. So the right leg will go over to right side and just feel that natural stop. Because if I go further than this, the left hip is going to lift up off the floor. So that's as far as I'm really going to take this. We'll hold that for a few breaths. Come back up to center. I'm going to switch hands on my strap and then take it to the other side. Same thing. I don't want to go all the way over where my right side lifts. Okay? I'm just taking the leg just across midline. Right about here works for me. I feel a lengthening and stretch through the outside portion of my right leg. This is pretty significant for me. I'm pretty tight in this area. And then we'll get into some other postures, but that's basically it. Okay? So you can go ahead and join me now. Go ahead and lie down. Grab your strap. We're going to work right leg first. So keep left leg extended on the ground. Hug right knee in. Wrap your strap around the bottom of the right foot and extend it into the air, even if you need to keep that right knee bent. Check in with the rest of your body. You want to still feel flat on the floor, like you were lying in Shavasana, for example. Flex the left foot. It'll just energize that left side, keeping it stable. Whenever you're ready, inhale and feel like you're sending your right leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale, a gentle tug of the strap, like you're going to send your leg over your head behind you. And that should provide that lengthening sensation in the right hamstring. I'm working at about 65% at this point. I feel this, but it doesn't feel too strenuous. I'm going to hold here.
Okay, so find that spot. So in soft flow, I usually say, look, can you work at about 60%? So finding that space where you can hold the posture, it feels relatively comfortable, and you could probably hold this for a long period of time. So we're getting that nice hamstring stretch. We're going to take a different sensation in a moment by taking the leg out to the side. Okay, you still got a hold of the strap. Take your left hand and just place it on the top of the left pelvis. Okay, just hold it like you're pressing it down so it doesn't leave the ground. Inhale. When you exhale, start to slowly send right leg to right side. Here's what you can do also for a little bit more stability. I'm sliding my hand down the belt. My elbow and arm is on the floor. I have a lot more control now of the foot in the strap. Taking the leg out, and I'm going to pause right about here. So just kind of tune in to where your leg can go without allowing the left side to lift away from the ground. I think I can go a little bit more. I'm about 70%. I can feel this. With that arm, the right arm on the floor, and a good placement of the hand on the belt, I feel in good control. I can hold this, probably not for a terribly long period of time. How about 3 more breaths here? And just notice where you have sensation. For me, it's along the inner right thigh, right into the hip. All right, we're going to bring this leg back up to the top. Switch hands on the strap. Now with the right hand, you might place right hand on your hip. Again, making sure it stays pretty plugged into the floor. Then slowly start taking right leg, crossing the midline towards the left side of the room. For me, it's not very far, because I can already feel the stretch. My right hip even wants to lift up off the ground. So my leg barely crossed by midline. Yours might be able to go a little further, but still be working at 60%. Between 60 and 70 is probably good for this. We're going to do one more pose after this, our one leg at a time practice. One more breath in and out, really getting into the IT band, okay, of this right leg. Outer right thigh. Come back up to center. Now you can remove the strap here. You can even bend the knee. Release the strap. We're going to happy baby pose, but just with the one leg. If you're able, grab hold of the bottom of the right foot. Send it towards the ceiling. Knee is very bent, maybe 90 degrees or so. And gently pressing down. So the knee feels like it's coming down to the outside of the right side of the body. Making sure left side is still connected to the floor. Check in with left foot. Is it still flexed? Right hand can rest on top of this left leg to make sure it's secured to the ground. We're not going to hold this pose too long. About 2 more breaths. One more pose. I just want to throw in one more. Okay, so bring this right foot to left inner thigh or at the knee. Set the leg onto the floor. Knee is bent. So kind of like tree pose, okay? So like tree pose, we're just doing it lying down. It's a nice way to kind of relax, but you're still getting a nice hip opener, okay? So kind of forming a tree-like pose. So right foot just touching the inside of the left leg. The right knee is bent. You get a nice hip opener. 3 more breaths. We're not going to be here long. Just a way to kind of relax, because there was a lot of work happening in the legs for those poses. And then you can just go ahead and extend that leg out to match the other. Hold here for a few breaths. You can even let the legs relax and feet relax. And we'll get set up for the other side. Whenever you're ready, hug the left knee in. Let's grab the strap, wrap it around the bottom of the foot, and extend the leg into the air. Always okay to keep that knee bent. Right leg is straight, flex the right foot to activate. Whenever you're ready, and inhale, feel like you're sending this left leg up towards the ceiling. And the exhale, a gentle tug, sending the foot over your head, not literally of course, but that's the direction it's going, to get the stretch sensation in the left hamstring area. Now I've got one hand on the strap. I'm using my right hand actually to support my left leg. I just feel a little bit more secure here. You're flat on the ground, except for this one leg in the air, so make sure there's that connection to the ground. I'm going to soften my stretch a little bit. I can feel it getting a little stressed. Maybe you can do the same, so just check in to your stress level with this stretch. Okay, we're going to get ready to take it to the left side. Inhale, you might even bring it to neutral, this left leg. Then exhale, start to slowly take left leg to left side. Get that arm ready, bend the left elbow, bring it down to the floor. Still got a hold of the strap. Get some more control of the foot in the strap as it moves out to the left side. Maybe your right hand is on top of the right hip or pelvis so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, get to the place where you start to notice that stretch in the left inner thigh. And I just did one little motion here. You probably didn't see this, but I rotated my leg. Okay, this outer spiral, it almost feels like you're going to spin the leg until your toes are starting to point towards the floor. That would be an outward spiral of the left leg, and that might provide a different sensation in the left leg. Okay, we're not going to hold here long. One more breath. And then bring it back up to center. Switch hands on the strap. Left hand on left hip, and then start to cross the midline. Again, for me, it's not very far until I start to feel this. Now, for some, you may not feel this at all as far as a stretch in that outer left thigh. So even think of this perhaps, if you don't feel anything, even think of this as preventative, because sometimes our IT bands do get tight if you are stationary, like you sit for a long time, or even if you're very active, a runner or hiker or something, the IT band tends to get overworked. Okay, so you can even kind of play with sending the leg forward or towards your head, just moving in a different directions until maybe you feel something, but again, you may not. But just doing this little stretch here, it can be ideal. Okay, we're coming back up to center. We're bending the knee, releasing the strap, going for our half happy baby pose, holding onto the bottom of the foot with the hand, sending foot towards ceiling, knee is bent at about 90 degrees, gently pressing down, feel the stretch. Okay, and the legs are still very active here. Right leg straight, right foot flexed, right hand on top of that thigh perhaps, just to ensure you're still connected to the floor. Just a couple more breaths, then we'll move into that relaxing tree pose. You can go ahead and release that stretch. Bring left foot down so it's touching the inside of the right leg. Left knee is bent, and maybe you're now resting on the floor. And just notice how everything just deactivates in a way. Nice release and relaxation. Two more breaths. They will extend the left leg, so we're in somewhat of Shavasana, but we have another pose to do. We're going to add a twist. Let the legs and feet relax for a moment. Now we'll hug both knees into chest, both knees. And when you're ready, slowly taking both knees over to the left side, down towards the floor. They may not touch the ground. It's okay if they don't. My blocks aren't handy, but you could place a block between the knees or placed underneath the left leg, just so you don't feel like you're going to over-rotate. So I'm going to be very gentle here. Breathe deeply. With the knees over to the left side, you can even extend right arm to the right side, just adding a little bit more sensation to this revolving feeling in the spine.
And how about 3 more breaths on this side? And when you feel complete, let's bring the knees back up to center. Perhaps another hug just to come back to neutral. And same for the other side, slowly taking knees over to the right. Maybe they reach the floor and that feels fine, or support them by using blocks or pillows, or a rolled up blanket perhaps, or a towel. As the knees come to the right, left arm extends to the left. Settle in. For me, when I do a pose like this, there's kind of a mix of feeling relaxed in the posture, but there's also some engaging. So notice what parts of the body are feeling quite relaxed in the pose, but also notice the parts that seem to be working. For me, because of this rotation, knees to the right, I feel this, like something's happening on this left hip area and a little bit in the low back. But I can feel like my upper body, my left arm, and even my feet for the most part feel pretty relaxed. 3 more breaths. When you're done, coming back up to center, hugging knees in, pause, just come to stillness for a second or two here. If you'd like though, after holding for a few moments, maybe adding some motion here, some circles. I like to circle the legs, especially after a little twist like that, just to relieve the hips and low back. We're going to take reclining cobbler's pose. Set the feet onto the floor and bring the legs together so they might touch. Slowly take the knees out to opposite sides of the room. Maybe the soles of the feet touch. And just relax. Now, if this feels like an overly dramatic stretch for the inner thighs, then you want to tuck those pillows or blocks underneath the knees so it doesn't feel like it's pulling, too strenuously. Reclining cobbler's pose. Of course, we did this seated. This is just the lying down version. And maybe 4 more breaths. Same thing here. You can kind of check in with your body. Notice what parts of your body feel really relaxed and the other parts that might be engaged or doing a little bit of work. When you're done, lift the knees, bring them together. You can give yourself another hug if you'd like. And then we're moving into Shavasana or any other restorative posture. Shavasana, of course, is when you extend the legs out in front, let the feet and legs relax opened. Arms can come down by your side. Feel free to bring in your pillows, bolsters, blocks, or blankets, whatever you'd like for any extra softness or cushioning for your body. And that might be in this lying down position, but also know, excuse me, that you can also lie on your side if that feels good in a nurturing pose, fetal position. You might even come up to seated for quiet meditation. You might even elevate parts of your body, maybe elevate your legs and feet. It's quite therapeutic and feels quite good and is good for your body. You might elevate your upper body. Wherever you are, you want to feel very relaxed. Once again, being able to hold this posture. This is the one you do want to be able to hold for a good period of time, even beyond the end of this class, because I will be ending the class, but that doesn't mean you need to move from this relaxing position. You can stay right here. As you lie in stillness, you might have your eyes closed. They could be opened. Notice your breath, especially if you
feel like your mind is beginning to wander away from this moment, just recapture this moment. Be more aware by taking a deep breath in and out. Slow, steady breaths. Again, you're welcome to stay here as long as you need to. And when it is time to move, start with breath. Maybe 5 slow, deep breaths. And as you're breathing in and out, feel the subtle movement return to your body. You might wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, move your hands, move your feet. Feel movement return. Breath getting a little deeper. As movement returns, preparing your body to move. From here, you might roll slowly onto either side of your body into a nurturing pose, a fetal position. You might even hold here for several breaths. Continuing to move in slow motion, use your hands to press and lift yourself up to seated. You might sit on your blanket or pillow. You can cross your legs if that feels comfortable. Sitting up nice and tall, lengthen spine. Check in with your shoulders. You might roll your shoulders, lift them up, send them down. Relaxed shoulders, arms, and hands resting in your lap. Once you have that return to relaxation, take a nice deep breath in and out. Hold in stillness for a moment. Stay in the present moment. And then one more simple movement together. We'll inhale, extend arms out and up into the air, reaching for the ceiling, very nice. And as you exhale, bring your hands together and down to your heart. Once again, hold in stillness, return to breath. As we come to the close of this portion of our journey together, we bow saying, Namaste.